Putting a franchise button on the homepage of your website can be bad for business.
Why hide it?
Why would you have it on there?
No, you answer my question first.
You answer mine.
Oh, all of a sudden, yeah, no, I do want to become a franchisee. Let me just fill in the form. Like, it's not going to happen, is it?
I'm not a fan of pop-ups that keep popping up.
Never I ignore my kids. I just want them to be able to get to the information as quickly as possible. No, we haven't finished.
Got a bit trigger happy.
Welcome to the Full Disclosure Podcast with me, Ed Purnell, the founder of The Franchise, and my co-host,
Jo Middleton from Franchise Business School.
Each episode, one co-host has to make and defend a strong statement from around the franchising industry. The other has to argue against it. This week it's Jo's turn, so let's get on with it.
Putting a franchise button on the homepage of your website can be bad for business.
I struggle to see why. Why hide it? Like, why hide the button?
Why hide the button?
Yeah.
Why would you have it on there?
No, you answer my question first.
You answer mine. I want to know. It's my statement.
Should we say, okay, maybe we start with saying why this question came about. So
Okay.
I've spoken to a few individuals within franchise brands, predominantly their marketing managers or something like this, and they've got two roles. They've got the role of recruiting franchisees is part of it, but probably their main role is supporting the marketing efforts of the overarching business brand itself. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time, franchisees don't want to be known as franchisees. Mm-hmm. They just want to be known as a business owner or the owner of whatever XYZ brand. Mm-hmm. And so by having the word franchise or something like that on the website, they kind of don't like the idea of it. But yeah, you've got to answer my question before I give you mine. So yeah, why hide it?
Telling me why my statement's right by saying that, because there can be negative connotations associated with the word franchise, and franchisees don't necessarily want to be known as franchisees. So, for example, someone going on to the website and they don't know that a franchise isn't a multi-level marketing scheme or a pyramid scheme or something, might then associate what the franchisee is doing with that kind of operation when they don't want it to be. So actually, by not having a franchise button on the website, on the homepage, it could be a positive.
I mean, I still don't really see it because it doesn't have to be the whole thing about the page. Just one button in a corner at the top or the bottom or something like that just says, join our franchise or join us, join our network.
So that's actually something I wrote down is join us is maybe a softer way of doing that everyone can be happy and on board with.
Yeah, I think though for me the reason why I'd want to see it on there is because somebody might have heard about your brand and are doing some research on the franchise opportunity. And I know a lot of franchise brands have one business page and one franchise page. But when they're searching to do their research and try and find out more about the franchise opportunity, they might go onto the website because that ranks way higher on SEO and stuff like that. On Google search rankings. Go on there and then go, well, perhaps they're not a franchise. I can't find any information on them. Like, you're making it more difficult for somebody to actually want to engage and invest in your franchise by hiding that fact. The other sort of scenario is you might have fans of your brand that visit that website a lot that would go, I'd love to run a business like this. But if they aren't aware that you're a franchise, you've completely lost them. So
full disclosure, I do think that transparency is really important in the industry, and being transparent that you're a franchise and not hiding that and having that information on your homepage is really important, whether it's a join us or whether it's a franchise tab, whatever you want to put on there. But I do think that people visiting the website should be able to access information to educate them about what running a franchise business with you would look like, and being clear that it's not a job, that there are these amazing benefits of having your own work-life balance, being in charge of your own income levels and your time, how you allocate your time. However, it is a business opportunity rather than a job.
Yeah, I think it could even be a section on the homepage, maybe, that kind of, if you're worried about people making assumptions around the word franchise, I think of the bigger brands, and I've gone around and looked at their kind of social media profiles and stuff like this, which I know is not quite the same. But even when you go into their websites, it's still pretty clear they're a franchise. But they use it as a benefit.
Yeah.
They say, an international brand operating underneath a franchise model with local business owners, local dedicated business owners supporting their local communities, right? So it can even be a massive positive, because you're saying, okay, yeah, it's a big organisation, but actually it's real people from your community. They're actually running this. It's not all just going in the pocket of Big Sam or whoever you want to say.
Who's Big Sam?
I don't know. Is that Americanism? I don't know.
I don't know, maybe. But I think that as one of the reasons I think that we do this podcast is to have open conversations about franchising and educate people who maybe don't know about franchising as much or want to explore more about the industry. And I think that in the UK, compared to Australia or the US, franchising was almost seen like a dirty word until a few years ago, where actually there were loads and loads of amazing brands that were doing great stuff in the UK, but franchising was associated with multi-level marketing or pyramid schemes, which it absolutely is not. So for things to have moved forward the way that they have done over the past few years, and for franchisors to be able to drip that out and open those conversations through their websites and through their e-newsletters and their marketing communications, and educate prospects not just about their offering but about franchising as a whole and what the model looks like, I think is something that's really valuable, that we can all share information about an industry that everyone involved is very passionate about, because we know the ripple effects of the benefits involved in franchising. For everyone involved, it can be a real win-win-win-win. So I think that franchisors having information not just about their franchise offering on their websites, but about the industry as a whole, and helping pass that education train on.
It's going to help them get discovered as well, potentially, depending on all the website wizardry that people can do, right? Like, but somebody at some point is going to say, what is a franchise? And if your brand comes up, that puts you in sort of good favour. Might not be the right franchise for the individual, but it puts out a good impression of your brand anyway, and that can then have a knock-on effect, because that person might talk to their friend about franchising and say, actually, I found it on this website for... I was going to make one up, but yeah, I'm not going to.
Franchiseelephant.com. Or is that a real thing? It might be.
I don't know. I was Dance-a-thon 5,000 or something. I don't know. But you know what I mean, though. Like, any sort of positive publicity like that, I think, is good for your brand. So... I'm winning this. Like, I feel that's the case, right?
No, I don't think so. I think that there are options. I don't think it necessarily has to be a franchise button on the homepage. I think it could be join us, and then they get educated about franchising once they've joined. But likewise, I think that you need to be transparent and honest and open.
Yeah.
But maybe use it as and not just your franchise information, but about franchise industry as a whole.
I think the problem with the join us button, or I've seen careers or ones like that, is it's a little bit misleading, right? Because it can seem like it's a recruitment opportunity, a job opportunity. That said, are you really being that misleading by saying join us? You just then go through and explain the situation. So I think it's probably tailoring it to the brand and the overall feel, but kind of like the word franchise at the top or the bottom, so someone can find and click through and learn more is
Yeah.
not too bad.
I think that it boils down to testing and measuring the different results for your site. So do you get more click-throughs when it's join us, or do you get more click-throughs when it's franchise? What works best?
Yeah, it's probably worth exploring and looking at.
What about pop-ups? So if I go onto the homepage of a franchise brand and it pops up saying download our franchise prospectus or find more information about franchising with us, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. I hate pop-ups anyway. Any of those.
Really?
Yeah, they really annoy me. But that's personal taste.
Yeah.
If I think of it from perspective of the individual that's landed on that franchise page, or sorry, on that business page, I've gone there with a specific intent. So I've gone there to perhaps research the company and make a decision whether or not I want to buy their product or work with them or whatever it is. If they then try and sell me something completely different,
Right.
it then just feels like an advert, doesn't it? Like, and it doesn't feel very,
Doesn't sit right.
yeah, it doesn't feel very organic. Like in terms of
Yeah.
how many people are you gonna get who are going to, let's say, they want somebody to redesign their website for them. They go on to that page and then, oh, all of a sudden, yeah, no, I do want to become a franchisee. Let me just fill in the form. Like, it's not going to happen, is it?
What about something that adds value? So I think that it could be beneficial. I'm not a fan of pop-ups that keep popping up. But I feel like it should give me the option to get onto their mailing list for more information, because if, like you say, you're a fan of the brand and you love what they do, some sort of freebie that pops up that would give me 5 top tips or a short video on or something like that, I don't mind having that come up. So I've got the option to put my email address in to get it. But if it's something that I've clicked the cross on because I don't want it, and then every time I go to that website it keeps...
Well, that's really annoying.
Really?
But I mean, have that as an option on one of the first page, like as they scroll through.
But they might not see it if it doesn't pop up.
Yeah, but it could just annoy people that go to that site. Like that's my argument there. Is it would annoy me? Like,
It's annoying.
yeah, because they're putting barriers in the way of me wanting to buy that product. They're just making me do another thing to get to the bit of information I actually want. And the more sort of distance you put between me and the thing that I want on the site, the more likely I am to go, oh, do you know what? I don't like this company. They're just annoying.
Yeah, I think
They're all about selling whatever they want to get my information. They're all about what's in it for them and not what's in it for me.
Yeah, I hear that, but I'm sticking to my guns on that because how many times do you go onto a website and get distracted by something, or you're picking the kids up and you've got to click off something because one of them falls over or does something, and you need...
Never. I ignore my kids.
My phone is far more important. And you don't get to finish what you're doing. Whereas if you've got the opportunity to put your email address in and get onto their mailing list, and it's something that you want and you're going to get value from, then they will, if they're organised, have a structure in place where every month you get some sort of e-newsletter with tips and ideas and things.
But you can come back to that page at a later point, and with certain what are they called, explorers, browsers, they save that page that they've been on anyway, so you can always just go back and go, right, what was that? Oh, that was the one. Or you bookmark it or something like that. Like
Disagree.
I don't like to give my details over, because I know that as soon as I do that, I'm going to get bombarded with emails that I then have to spend my time deleting.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you're saying. Like, maybe I want to, but I've typically gone to a site because I want a specific piece of information. I think why I sign up to newsletters is to get the deals and things like that. Like, here's a discount, or...
My things are all around the know, like, trust, and people watching you, which sounds a bit weird, but people watching you before they will make that franchise inquiry. So I think if you've got some way that people can get onto your email list where they're getting added value before they're ready to commit to looking at a franchise opportunity in more detail, then it would be nicer for them to have. So you've, as a franchisor, you'd almost have two lists where one is interested in the franchise opportunity and one is just your warm leads pool of people that are watching you.
But I mean, let's put it a slightly different way. What if a pop-up came up and said, follow us on socials?
Then you'd get lost in my never-ending scroll hole on social media and I'd never see you again. So it's better to...
Yeah, so I'm not... But I don't think as an individual I'd want to do that. And it's the same with the newsletter. I don't want to be bombarded by these people.
Commitment phobe, I think.
It's more that I'm trying to think of it from the user's perspective. So the user, I just want them to be able to get to the information as quickly as possible so they can get that trust and
with as few barriers in the way as possible.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you said with those barriers in the way. No, with less barriers in the way. Yeah, so it makes it easier because everyone's going to look at multiple things, right? You're going to research different brands, and if one's annoying you, unfortunately, that puts a little psychological thing in your head of, yeah, it seemed easy with these guys. They seem to, and it's almost sort of subconscious. These guys are thinking more about me because they're just helping me get to that information so much quicker. And if they're efficient with that, they're going to be efficient with.
I think that you need to test and measure the results of both and see what works best for your individual brand.
That's true. Yeah, that's the only way to do it is to properly test it. But yeah, my gut says I don't like pop-ups, and so they shouldn't be on there. So there we go.
I think you should have the opportunity. Okay, I win.
Oh, wait a minute. So we're having...
Have we not finished that one?
No, we haven't finished.
Got a bit trigger happy.
So putting a franchise button on a company homepage is bad for business? I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is. I think that, I think that you need to be transparent about being a franchise.
Another win. Lovely.
I tried. I tried.
Here's what's coming up next on the Full Disclosure Podcast.
Not be able to dictate changes if the franchisees disagree.